Guys, welcome back to the channel. Looking to break down barriers for the subscriber base. We roll out these portfolio reviews to provide you some transparency on what is available out there in the landscape. Before we get started, if you haven't subscribed to the Independent Investor channel, we're really trying to bridge a lot of gaps for new investors who maybe don't know a whole lot about investing on your own, okay? So the point of these videos is to really provide you transparency on the accounts that you can use and some of the products that you can use if you're looking to get some elementary introduction to the stock market and really help answer a lot of questions for how possible it is to seek some involvement in the stock market nowadays. The landscape has changed so much, and it's so important for people that are looking to get invested for the first time, maybe in their lives, to look at all opportunities out there and make an informed decision about what your options are. So hit the subscribe button for us. Subscribe to the message, the community that we're building here of independent, self-directed investors, direct connecting themselves to the stock market and rendering the benefits for themselves and not sharing any of the profit loss to fees that are traditionally incurred investing with a financial planner. So with that said, guys, I'm going to kick you in to the M1 Finance platform, and I'm going to be rolling out the review of how I've sought some passive opportunity through M1 Finance, and I'm going to cross compare what you can do if you just bought the S&P 500, and I'm going to cross compare the performance of both over time, and you're going to really take some really good information away from this on. It's not as hard as you may think it is to seek out an initial exposure to the stock market. It's actually quite simple, and using a platform like M1 Finance can help you do that, guys. So without further ado, I'll kick you into M1 Finance. Please enjoy the review. We actually haven't had a chance to do a M1 Finance portfolio review for a while. This portfolio is an interesting one. This is divided across all the 11 sectors in the S&P 500, and I've split this up using a custom allocation for the portfolio, and it's fun to come in here and talk a little bit, demonstrate what a starting portfolio could look like, what you could realistically look to generate. This is just one way of an infinite number of ways you can seek out your exposure to the stock market. This is just how I've chosen to do it. Honestly, I contend that probably the most prudent way for a new investor to look to seek out their initial exposure to the stock market probably just could come as easily as investing in the S&P 500 or a total market ETF. And a lot of people ask me this question all the time: how many holdings should I have when I first start my portfolio? The answer is one. If you opt for those diversified products that let's say a Vanguard offers, which is that's my preferred product. You guys can see here that I own these products within the M1 platform. So a misconception that I hear all the time with new investors is that you have to have a Vanguard account to own Vanguard products, and that's just not the case. You can own whatever Vanguard product you want in most brokerage accounts. I own Vanguard products across my accounts. I have 6 accounts, and I've got at least one Vanguard product in most every one of them. But this helps kind of demonstrate how it is you can seek out a nice, broad, diversified exposure to the market. And the reason I say that, this M1 platform really helps do a lot of different things. Obviously, this can demonstrate for us what type of return, 11%, nothing to sneeze at. Since I've started this portfolio, $180 in capital appreciation, $26 in earned dividends. So nothing too crazy, but not too bad. And this again is for those new investors to look at and say, wow, he's just shy of a couple $1,000s. This is pretty cool. This is the way Ryan has chosen to seek out the exposure, and it's obviously working for him. within the M1 Finance platform, it's really cool. You can actually come in here to the research tab, and I want to show you these. I've built a bunch of pies here to help me understand. I threw just a VOO into this just for demonstrations purposes. And this is a cool part about M1 Finance, where you can drop a specific ETF into this pie and look to backtest its performance. And you'd want to do that to set yourself a benchmark to say, look, had I just invested in the S&P 500 that I talk about, this is how it would have performed over time. So over the last 5 years, you're looking at over 50% capital appreciation. Now that's not including this little almost 2% dividend yield that you'll be paid for a significantly less of an expense ratio than what I've got going on, minus 3 times this expense at 0.10% in my portfolio that I just showed you. So the reason why I don't opt to do this in M1 Finance is because I own the VOO, the S&P 500, and other areas of my portfolio in both index funds, and then I also own the VOO in my Roth IRA. So I wanted to take a little bit of a strategically different approach with this portfolio. It gives me a little bit more of an opportunity to strategically allocate the way that I want across the different sectors. And what I mean by that, if we go back to the portfolio and actually show you what I mean, the allocation details are here. I was able to weight this portfolio to have the majority of the money, and we are overweight in reference to our target here, which is fine, but I wanted the bulk of the holdings to be in information technology, and then healthcare, and then financials, industrials, consumer staples here, consumer discretionary, then staples, industrials, REITs, energy, materials, and telecom. And this is just, there's no rhyme or reason behind this other than just my preference on how I wanted to weight this and allocate the money. You could do an equal weight across all these and just do 9% in each of them. You could do that. That's totally fine. But for demonstration purposes, the real value that you can get out of this is to understand the comparison exercise that I just ran you through. If I take this exact same portfolio and I jump back in here to the research tab, and this is the one that we're using right here at the bottom, so we can go ahead and jump into this, and I can show you what I mean. This is yielding just a little bit more of a dividend, but here is the 0.10 expense that we're incurring, and it's actually underperformed that S&P. So if you guys are out there and you're listening to this and you're not an investor just yet, just think about the amount of opportunity that I've packed into this few-minute video talking about the what if. You know, if you were a new investor and you were looking for what is the single greatest way to seek out diversified exposure in the market and get yourself a nice dividend yield, you may just opt to go with the S&P 500 here, because comparatively speaking to mine, you're getting a little bit less of a yield, which I would be willing to concede if you were reducing the expense ratio to 0.03 in that portfolio, and to kick up here, you've got 10 points of outperformance. And over time, that's really going to make a huge difference. So, you know, this answers probably one of the most common questions that I get in investing. When new investors come to me, they talk about, you know, how many holdings should you have in the portfolio? And the crazy part about this Vanguard ETF is that you've got your exposure across just over 500 companies. So you're diversified, yes. Low expense and cost to the market, yes. You're in a self-directed Roth IRA account, hopefully, yes. And then you're making a little bit of a dividend appreciation or a dividend yield over the portfolio. So you're really checking a lot of boxes here by opting for this option. And we'll go back to mine, what I've got. I'm okay with what I've got here. I'm okay breaking it up and across the sectors. Some of the folks in the community have a little bit of heartache with why I've done this, basically just to use a little imagination and see how the portfolio performs over time. This will be an account with M1 Finance that I look to build over time, and whether or not I stick with this sector style of investing is yet to be seen. I like it so far. It's done fine. This is a completely passive option for me, which I fund with $25 every single month on a true dollar cost average schedule, so it does help there. Some of the strategic goals for this account are really, really simple. I'd really like to up the contribution to $50 a month, and that's what I will be doing. I will try to be a little bit more aggressive and getting a little bit more performance out of this portfolio if I can. That would be awesome. And as I do that, I'm hoping to really replicate what a new investor, as they've invested for a while. I've had this started since around March. Go back to the start. Yeah, March 5th is when I started this. So not too bad. This really should be encouraging for a lot of new investors to say, wow, I mean, if I can do this, or Ryan can do it, so can I. And that's true. This is a very reasonable way to seek out the market the way that I have here. I've shared this portfolio through my Facebook group, but also if you caught the intent of this message, my intent was to compare this portfolio had you invested in it 5 years ago, and what you could have done had you just taken the money and invested in the S&P 500. You would have actually outpaced this portfolio with a little bit less of an expense ratio. So lots of takeaways from this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it really touches a lot of new investors and really gets your mind thinking about what is possible in the market, how you can seek out your introductory starting amount in the portfolio, and finally what product you could potentially go with. Don't make it more difficult than it needs to be, guys. Really, some of the best products out there are some of the most obvious and some of the most justifiable, that give you a lot of bang for your buck when you're looking to make your dollars stretch. Make them diversified, get a little dividend appreciation with the best chance of maximizing your potential for capital appreciation. So with that said, guys, I will kick you back into YouTube. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on this M1 portfolio review. All right, guys, so we've come back out of M1 Finance. Hope you enjoyed the review of the portfolio, slow moving, dollar cost averaging. Maybe take a few steps toward increasing my dollar cost average schedule. I've been doing $25 a month for the past few months since it started back in March. We're appreciating quite nicely. I can't complain at all. I really enjoy the passive approach and how conducive M1 Finance is to anybody looking to seek out exposure to the stock market, but they're looking to do so from a passive perspective. I really hope you were able to take away from this video the comparison between the way I've sought it through the specialty SPDR ETFs through Vanguard, and the comparison that I've offered with the VOO, which is the S&P 500's offering through Vanguard as well. Hopefully you were able to understand the comparison between the two and the opportunity that exists within a platform like M1 Finance. Do just want to mention that the M1 Finance is an affiliate with the Independent Investor Channel. The links are always provided in the description below. If you're interested in starting an account with M1 and seeking out further information, please use the link below. The Independent Investor Channel can receive a small compensation, which helps us support the message that we're putting through on the channel. Don't forget to subscribe to the message. Leave your comments in the comment section below. And honestly, always share this video with anybody that you know seeking an introduction to the stock market. Bring them onto the channel. We welcome everybody to become part of this movement of self-directed investors. It's a very exciting time to become an investor. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in to the video, and good luck in your investment future.